Okay, I normally don't address like hate or negative comments, but I wanted to respond to some of the comments on my day in the life vlog only because they're coming from people who actually watch my content, not like random haters. First off, I think people are misconstruing the point of that video. I was in no way trying to make the case that like being an influencer is so much harder than you think. I obviously don't think being an influencer is harder than working in corporate, or I wouldn't have left corporate to do this. Like, I love what I do now and I fucking hated corporate. But in my podcast, I mentioned like I do clock in a lot more hours than I used to. And keep in mind, the last job I had was in tech, so it was like pretty chill. And people were just curious, like how I spend my time. I also, I don't think people are looking at the timestamps on that video. Obviously, I go a lot more in depth on like the events and like hanging out with my friends and like what I wore because that's more fun. And then I'll just randomly be like, oh, and I edited. But if you add up the time I spent like in front of a computer or actively talking to a YouTube camera or editing on my phone, it's probably at least like 6 hours, which is a very low screen time day for me, by the way. I will typically have at least 1 to 2 days a week where I edit for like 10 to 15 hours straight. Like I'll edit from 9 a.m. to 3 a.m. because that's basically how much time I need to edit one of my weekly YouTube uploads. And so I was just trying to explain, like, I probably clock like 6 to 8 hours every day on like emails, editing, like active filming, etc. And then, yes, I do film everything else, like me hanging out with my friends, me crocheting, on my own leisure time, etc., and also leverage that for content. But I'm not making the case that just because I film something, it counts as work. Because then I would literally be working 24/7 because I basically film and document almost every fucking thing that I do. Y'all don't need to be like up in arms about how I'm complaining about being an influencer. I'm literally not. It's such a blessed life. I'm just saying from a purely quantitative perspective, I'm clocking a lot more hours. Like probably like at least 20 hours of editing a week and probably at least like 30 hours of crocheting and knitting a week. And that doesn't include filming, so it's already more than like a 40-hour work week. That's all I'm saying, guys. You don't need to be up in arms.